Dr. Elena Vasquez stared at the cascading data streams across her holographic displays, her hands trembling as the implications crystallized in her mind. The Arecibo III array had intercepted something unprecedented, a signal so complex and purposeful that it defied every model of natural cosmic phenomena. But what terrified her wasn't the signal itself. It was what it had awakened within humanity. The transmission had arrived at 14:37 GMT on a Tuesday that would forever divide human history into before and after. Unlike the random bursts of radio noise that peppered the cosmos, this signal carried mathematical precision, embedded patterns that spoke of intelligence so advanced it made humanity appear primitive by comparison. Within hours, every major observatory on Earth had confirmed the same devastating truth. They were no longer alone. But the signal did more than announce extraterrestrial existence. As Elena watched her colleagues around the globe, she witnessed something that chilled her to the bone. The same fury that now burned in their eyes had ignited in her own chest, a primal, inexplicable rage that seemed to emerge from humanity's deepest genetic memory. Commander Sarah Chen, head of the newly formed Xenological Defense Initiative, paced the sterile corridors of the underground facility that had been constructed within 72 hours of the signal's arrival. The speed of humanity's response was unprecedented, as if some dormant military protocol had activated automatically. Nations that had been enemies for decades suddenly coordinated with mechanical precision, pooling resources toward a single, terrifying purpose. The signal isn't just communication, Dr. James Morrison explained to the assembled council, his voice carrying the weight of species-altering revelation. Our neurological scans show that exposure to the transmission activates dormant sections of the human brain specifically, regions associated with territorial aggression and survival instincts. We're not just hearing from aliens, we're being programmed. The holographic reconstruction of the signal hung in the center of the chamber like a malevolent constellation. Its beauty was undeniable, spiraling fractals of mathematical perfection that pulsed with an almost hypnotic rhythm. But beneath that aesthetic lay something darker, a frequency that resonated with human DNA itself, awakening genetic memories that predated civilization. Elena studied the biological data streaming across her workstation. The signal had triggered the release of ancient hormones, activating neural pathways that hadn't fired since humanity's earliest ancestors faced extinction-level threats. Every human who had been exposed, which now included nearly half the global population, exhibited the same response: heightened aggression, enhanced cognitive function, and an overwhelming compulsion to prepare for war. "They're preparing us," whispered Dr. Yuki Tanaka, the xenobiologist who had first identified the signal's biological effects. "This transmission, it's turning us into soldiers." Commander Chen's jaw tightened as she absorbed the implications. Soldiers for what purpose? Are they planning an invasion? "No," Elena said quietly, her fingers dancing across quantum processors as she decoded deeper layers of the transmission. "That's not it at all. The signal contains historical data fragments of their own civilization's records. They face something called the Devourers, entities that consume entire star systems. The aliens who sent this signal, they're extinct now. This transmission is their final gift to any species capable of receiving it." The chamber fell silent, except for the hum of processing cores working at maximum capacity. Elena continued her analysis, her enhanced intellect, another gift of the signal processing information at superhuman speeds. The alien civilization had recognized that only aggressive militaristic species could survive what was coming. The signal was a test and a transformation tool designed to awaken humanity's warrior instincts while providing them with the knowledge needed to fight. "The Devourers are already here," Elena announced, her voice cutting through the stillness like a blade. They're in the Kuiper belt, consuming asteroids and growing stronger. The signal wasn't just a warning, it was preparation for imminent contact. Commander Chen felt the fury surge through her bloodstream. No longer fighting against it, but embracing it as humanity's salvation. The aliens hadn't condemned their species, they had gifted them with the tools for survival. The rage that burned in every enhanced human wasn't mindless violence, it was focused, purposeful, and absolutely necessary. "How long do we have?" Chen asked. "The signal's calculations suggest 18 months before they reach Earth's orbital zone," Elena replied. "But we're not the same species that existed before the transmission arrived. We're faster, stronger, more intelligent, and we're angrier than any species has a right to be." Dr. Morrison pulled up tactical displays, showing the massive construction projects that had begun spontaneously across the globe. Orbital defense platforms, quantum weapons systems, and void-capable warships were taking shape with impossible speed, as if humanity had always possessed the knowledge to build them. The signal had unlocked not just biological potential, but technological understanding that had been dormant in human consciousness. They turned us into their successors, Chen realized. The last alien civilization didn't just warn us, they made us into the weapon they wished they could have been. Elena nodded grimly, watching as the final layers of the signal decoded themselves. Hidden within the mathematical beauty were complete blueprints for technologies beyond human imagination, strategic analyses of devourer tactics, and most importantly, the locations of other worlds that had received similar signals. Humanity wasn't alone in this fight. The rage that had initially terrified them now felt like coming home. Every enhanced human understood instinctively that they had been chosen, forged by an extinct civilization's final act of defiance against cosmic extinction. The fury that burned in their hearts wasn't just emotion, it was purpose, destiny, and the promise of vengeance for species they had never known. As Elena looked around the chamber at her transformed colleagues, she felt a grim satisfaction. The extraterrestrial signal had indeed reached Earth. Humanity had awakened with fury. And somewhere in the dark between the stars, the devourers would soon learn what that awakening meant. The war for existence was about to begin, and humanity was finally ready to fight it.